I am that I am, present, embodied, aware, consciousness, accepting that I am more than I am that I am. 2013 has been a year of shifting paradigms. At the end of the long beginning in 2012, it was still only apparent to less than half of humanity. But most of us have felt it directly now in our own lives. The very fabric of the reality that is what we make it is changing. We get it because we feel it. We feel it because it happens. It happens because we get it. We live in an age of increasing, ascending potentialities. This year has contained more individual stories of success and catastrophe than any year before it, in any region of the world. 2014 looks to be yet more of the same. The ability to flow with, tap into, manipulate, and contribute to whatever make up the energetic patterns of your immediate surrounding has become the necessary skill set of the future now. Call it social coding, call it social programming, call it social engineering even, but call it out from within the layers of self-doubt and disappointment which falls like Fukushima ash on our hearts. Few have it easy these days, but many more than you would think have begun to thrive as they strive and find abundance within adversity. Open collaborative initiatives are gradually becoming more effective than closed competition models in more and more business. We still have residual legacy costs of the old mindset to pay, and we will for some time to come, since we humans only solve the problems we understand. But we are collectively beginning to understand, accept, and realize much greater levels of complexity, which feeds into our solutions. If you look, you will see that these transitions encompass both and, not just either or. The truth of the day is as fuzzy as the logic which produced it, and if you cannot manage to cook your own truth, you are likely living in a crumbling shell of reversed polarities and false dichotomies, where you still believe the lies that war is peace, slavery is freedom, and ignorance is strength. Many new cracks have appeared in the shell of man this year. Only the force of will, combined with the habit of fear, holds the pieces together still. New paradigms can be terrifying things, and they are not necessarily easy to embody in the world. But there is something on the other side of the shell, which man has never experienced before, a life beyond fear. Not that there aren't plenty events unfolding which can be a source of fear for those who do not see a bigger picture. There's been countless reruns and repostings of the food riots and mass lootings of supermarkets and shopping centers that happened for the first time in many countries this year. All our Eurocentric Euro countries have seen some novel forms of social upheaval related to the issues of artificial scarcity and unequal resource distribution, until we see more than a few examples of politicians and other leaders step forward who are willing and able to accept and meet this new normal with new standards. We are likely to see this trend continue in 2014. More families than usual have been touched by illness and death in 2013. It is beginning to sink in that we do not have in place institutions, systems, and corporations of health care, but rather of sick care. Human hands have made the tools that constructed the machines which built the robots who configured the algorithms that created the nanoids, which have now cemented the imbalances within the natural patterns of our planet. We can keep on pointing fingers, or we can accept some personal responsibility for our own health and happenstance in an imbalanced world. Yes, there is the sufferings of many innocents in the living present past that we happen to share this future now with. How do you take the broken hands and ask forgiveness of the bleeding, exhausted, poisoned child who've spent all her walking years gluing together your Nike shoes that just don't make you do it? You begin by reorienting the flow of energy around you in your own world. Take a new and untraveled path with those shoes. Use them to step up to a dragon of your own mind's making. Redeem the investment of the planet's future through divine love of your fellows. In this transitory age, it can be as hard as the labor of the child to love and keep loving your peers unconditionally, but only at first. This past year has shown us that now the time has come to collaborate and gather around new thinking and new solutions. We have all made each other well aware that the myriad problems in our societies have overgrown and been allowed to fester for a long time. There has been so many mental and bureaucratic roadblocks impeding the progress of innovation and true entrepreneuring social change that it's hard to notice that now we actually can see both the trees and the forest. But we have begun the paradigm shift. Human consciousness has cast itself adrift like the life of Pi upon the Pacific. We must each make our resourceful transition and learn to coexist in freedom with the tiger within. The business of degrowth is slowly becoming the business of regrowth. Human energies are being transferred daily from the systems, which channel it upwards to the archonic feeders, to new systems, which circulate those energies amongst equals. Lives look not that different on the outside. But when you start paying an existential interest rate on the illusion of debt, which is your old world inheritance, you find a world of riches that find their way to you. The spirit of true science has become the saving grace of many a newfangled questing shaman, otherwise known as university dropout, this year. The institutional hold on the authority of knowledge is continuing to weaken, and the flowering seeds of enabled consciousness are emerging as from melting winter snows. The bricolage of minds meeting through the internet allows for cross-pollination of ideas in ways we have only dreamt of in our millennia of dwelling in caves. Now comes the age when we print our dreams directly in 3D. What more clues do you need to figure out the world is no more than what you factor into it? Not surprisingly, the solar energy industry experienced another boom year amidst faltering and continuously more desperate reinflated economies. New energy technology discourse, videos, and online discussion groups continue to grow predictably in popularity and acceptance, though we did not see a commercial pre-assembled zero-point unit put to the global market this year, nor are we likely to, at least not in 2014. The ideas behind the basic income, also known as citizen salary, have been gaining significantly more international recognition as a viable and doable systemic transformation of the existing economies toward a clean slate of equally empowered free citizens. There has also been a perceptible increase in the focus on social currencies this past year. The information economy is demonstrating to online humanity that the only true value underlying all our exchange systems, monetary and otherwise, is human creativity and effort. Your labor is the philosopher's stone of the future. Your creativity and ability to shape the world around you is your very own over-unity energy source. Your freedom to combine your efforts with whom you choose in the manner you see fit is the most precious state you can reach as a human. No longer just a few of us have now remembered that this is the very crucible of happiness and generating a sense of meaning in our lives, performing a voluntary labor of love, feeding an economy of generosity. But what of the old world disorder? 2013 was also the year we did not see the dollar collapse completely into an unrecognizable rubble economy of violence and barter, complemented by gold, silver, and bitcoins. Kaiser Maximus, the living avatar of hyper-frequency viral algorithms, planted his flag on the outside of April, but did not get it right this time. The drunken pair of greenbacks and euros still shoulders on, propping each other up on the hyperinflationary road toward the Emerald City, hoping to be taken in and given shelter by the purportedly magnanimous special drawing rights. The threat of global initiation of World War III's hot phase has gathered further like storm clouds ripe for breaking. And the drones shall set you free, cries Obama, pointing his puppet finger at the Chinese chimera like an actor, calling out to the backs of the last members of his disappearing audience. But fear not. It's theater, posturing, psyops, and Middle Eastern destabilization in the name of our peace and security. We have seen it all since the beginning of the century, but still more and more bloggers have been caught in the Infowar bandwidth and are asking, you really think these bloodlines will go quietly into the night? For the game-playing internet natives, 2013 could well become the watershed year that will go down in history as the moment when the real and the virtual finally overlap seamlessly, a milestone on the path towards singularity. Google released its first mobile AR game and the first line of goggles this year. The theme of transhumanism, which was pioneered into the mainstream by the online series H+ that concluded in January, has become a mainstay in creative works in all media throughout 2013. There is a generation of humans coming who will never live outside of network range, nor will they care to ever even briefly relinquish connection to their virtual overlays. There will be birth pangs and growing pains of this new breed of hybrid android humanity. There will be dogged insistence from some quarters that it won't be a true humanity, because it will be fundamentally different, but it won't make the phenomenon any less real. We have all chosen to play with whatever available toys and technology we could understand, regardless of the potential future consequences. So it has been for time immemorial. It is a very human trait that we must accept will wire our children fundamentally different, while we are wired fundamentally different from our parents. To us, in this generation, the middle children of history's most exponentially potent and well-documented decade, synchronicity is emerging clearly as the red thread with which our lives are interwoven. Language stretching itself jointlessly and folding back upon clear referential meaning across the immeasurable surface of the Möbius strip of your attention span. Information not only wants to be free, it wants to transform, to mutate, to propagate, and to thrive. To do that, it must reach the right mind through the right ears and cling like seeds to the energy weaves of human consciousness. And when it flowers in collaborative profusion through the right mouths, the gardens of words then spoken will ring truer and clearer than any ever formed by that tongue before. Just ask Snordelhans, the ranting poet king on YouTube. He'll tell you all about the return of the sequel of Pet Go 2. All in all, what we are witnessing probably is the dawning of a new planetary consciousness, here at the end of all things not ready to morph into the age of Aquarius. It looked like it is a bumpy ride getting bumpier, for most of us alive to live it. Most of the time it either goes too fast or too slow for comfort, and it can be really tricky to communicate the experience through the interface of words and symbolic images. Trickier still to implement it as lasting reprogramming of the energy matrix that you are in the habit of calling I. You do have the power to alter your own frequency reception of perceived reality. You are in the process of experimentally doing so, even as you are absorbing this. Or is it truly you who is doing the altering? Have you not just lent your attention and mind to the voice of another 2-bit hobby channeler of the truth we all remember when we remember to remember who we are? Is the you, that is you, even different from the I, saying hi to myself whenever human consciousness interprets sound waves as a reasoning voice different from its own? If there is a point to asking these questions, it may not lie in whatever answers we can find. The questions themselves are like a pair of paradoxical oxymorons, fleecing each other with the one hand while the other scratches the backside of eternity. A language game which makes for a charming little synaptic implosion and then fizzles, while another black wormhole goes to sleep in a pool of its own vomit. Isn't this the same reality as we confused with yesterday's tomorrow too? There's a rank smell of simulacral pseudo-revelation here. I think it's time to pull the cord on 2013 and see if we remember to invent the chute on our way up here. Last but not least, you will probably not have noticed that there was an alien invasion of Earth this year. It's not entirely unlike the alien invasions we have forgotten before, but it happened again. A lot of new human bodies were born with open gateways to the universal consciousness. However, the vibrational grid these younglings emerged into is more highly tuned than any which has greeted visiting souls throughout the zodiac seasons of our many yesteryears. So, being born an amnesic alien to grow up on Earth isn't necessarily just the next chapter of the same slog through the quagmire of negligent, boring evil that it used to be. There's a light on the event horizon of space-time. It could be the last of Gaia's forests aflame, or it could be the light of a new sun in the Milky Way. This year we welcomed you, Novus of the next reincarnation, into these mysteries unraveling around us. You'll have to tell us what to make of it all. Now, if only we can grow ears that will allow us to hear what you have come to remind us.